Hey there guys, JWF1 here and welcome to episode 3 of my ToCA 2 Touring Cars 1996 career mode, and we are here at the fastest track in the UK, that being Thruxton. And as you can see, you're seeing footage of my first qualifying run, and as you can see, get a little bit of a twitch there through in towards the right hander. First of all, thank you for the support over the first 2 episodes. It seems that we're picking up the likes quite a little bit, so hopefully we can raise it up here at Thruxton, and it obviously gives me the motivation to continue this throughout. And so, going into this race, of course, we come off a very disastrous Brands Hatch, no points whatsoever, which was disappointing really, because I felt like I had pace to actually challenge for points, but a load of mistakes happened, a lot of contact happened, especially in race 2, where we spun off people 3 times, twice with Patrick Watts and once with one of the Hondas, I believe it was James K we actually spun off. So not a good Brands Hatch, but we're hoping to put them gremlins behind as we are here at Thruxton, as we now come up towards the final 3 corners now, then trying to avoid the curves as much as I can, and we clipped that curve and we spun it. We have spun the car around at that corner, and that has definitely cost us any chance of getting a good place in qualifying. And well, what a disaster it is. We crossed the line now then, and a disappointment as a result. So let's have a look at the grid for race 1. So let's have a look at the grid then for race 1 here at Thruxton, and as you can see, going through the order then, it is John Bincliffe who is surprisingly on pole position in the Audi, with John Cleland a surprising second, an unlikely front row pairing for this race. And it's Owen Macaulay in 3rd, with Rickard Rydell in 4th position. Gary Ailes starts in 5th, with Alain Menu in the Renault in 6th position. David Leslie starts 7th in the Honda, with Kelvin Burt in 8th position. Then it is Paul Radicic, my teammate, in 9th, with James Thompson running at the top 10 in 10th. The first Peugeot being Tim Harvey is in 11th, with Will Hoy in 12th position. Patrick Watts starting in 13th, with James Kay in 14th position. And on the back row of the grid, it's Fran Bieler and myself, because of that spin we made at the last chicane. So there is the grid then for race 1 here at Thruxton. So without further ado, let's get to the race. So here we are then, here for race 1 here at Thruxton, as we get set to get underway now. Then we wait for the lights to go off, and we turn green, and we are underway for race 1 here at Thruxton, the 3rd weekend of the 1996 championship. As you see, it's not been a good start from us. Baylor gets away from us on the back row of the grid as we go through in towards turn 1, flat out as we go, as it's a long run down towards turn 2, where it's the first big breaking point on the track. Hopefully we can try and get close to these guys and try and dive for them in towards that right hander. Breaking towards the right hander now then, we don't gain as much, we lose the back end a little bit. We were able to catch a car, a lot of locking up going on in front with the Peugeot and the Audi as well. We try to go around the outside of, I believe, Patrick Watts, that is. It is Patrick Watts. We go side by side with him and we get up into 15th place, and now we're onto the backside of Frank Bieler again for what will be P14. Hopefully we can get a place off him there, as long as we just keep in the slipstream now then, as we go through the right hander. Round the right hander we go. Obviously this bit is flat out. The next braking point obviously being at the last chicane. In total there's only 2 braking points on this track. The rest of the course is flat out. That's why it is considered the fastest track in the UK. As you can see, Patrick Watts was on our right hand side there. That's why you saw a little bit of bodywork flying towards the left of us, as we pretty much trade panels with each other, pretty much trading paint as we go down the straight. Watts able to get the slip train and get back up into 15th, but for some reason he breaks quite early there. We're going to try and take advantage. Down the inside we go, and we move back up into 15th place as we try and catch back up to Frank Bieler in 14th. He's got quite a bit of a gap to us as a result of Patrick Watts having to deal with Patrick Watts a little bit later on. As we go down the straight through towards turn 1 we go. We've got 1.15 to gain on Fran Bieler. And now we skip to the beginning of lap 3 now then. As you can see, Patrick Watts is still behind us at the moment, and we're still trying to catch up to Frank Bieler. He's actually pulling away quite a bit through the right hander we go. Get a little bit of a twitch through there, through the left hander, and we lose the back end. We've spun it, we've clipped one of the boards, and we've gone for a spin. Where is Patrick Watts? There is Watts, I believe. I think I just saw Watts there, trying to make sure he rejoins in front of us, and we get a tap from the back from Watts. And well, a little bit naughty from us there, but we're still able to get in front of Patrick Watts as a result. But now we lost a lot of time to Frank Bieler. In fact, we're over 11 seconds behind him, and around this track I think it's going to be quite tricky to catch back up to him, considering that it's only a 15 lap race and we're already on lap 3 of 15 now. Then as we just go through the right hander now then up towards I believe the fourth to last corner we're going to be coming up towards now, where Simon Belcher back in 2014 had that massive roll after being launched over the tyres, which had already been demolished at this point, but luckily there's now a barrier down there in real life. As now we go down the straight now then towards the last corner. I think Watts is now on our backside now then, going down towards it, and he does. He goes to the inside. Watts gets the place from Hurst. Can we try and get him back round the outside in towards the chicane? Round the outside we go through the chicane and just hopping over the curb there, and we get back up into 15th place there, trying to ensure that we get the place back off Patrick Watts, but we even lose some more time now to Frank Beeler, being too busy battling it out with Patrick Watts. Meantime now we skip to the end of lap 4 of the race. Beeler in front has already passed somebody in the form of Tim Harvey, so now we're essentially in a Peugeot sandwich going through the last chicane now then, and we lose it again. Just like in qualifying, we lose the back end, and we're already in an awkward angle because we can't get the car to turn 90 degrees or 180 degrees, and as a result Patrick Watts goes through and we're down to last place. As a result, down to 16th we go thanks to that error. And, well, Watts has got quite a bit of a gap now as a result of the mistake. 2.38 seconds he's got in front of us now, and that's a lot of time we've got to gain in these remaining laps then. What a disaster for us. But sadly, we're skipping to the end of the race because I didn't catch up to Patrick Watts. The Ford is just so slow down the straight that the only way you could possibly get them is to adjust your gearing. And, well, I took the decision that I was going to do that in the next race. But still, what a disaster. Too many spins, going through the last chicane we go, and it's going to be last place for us. What a disaster for us in the Ford, and not the way we wanted to start our day after what had been a tricky weekend at Brands Hatch. That's not the way I wanted to start things off as a result. But there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here was the results of race 1 here at Thruxton. Gary Ailes took the victory in the Rouse Nissan with John Cleland in second. Rickard Riddell finished third. Alan Menu fourth. Owen McCauley was fifth, with John Bincliffe in sixth place, unable to capitalise on his pole position. David Leslie was seventh, with Kelvin Birdseye in eighth position. And if we scroll to the next page, it's Will Hoy in 9th with James Thompson 10th. The fellow James Kay, just outside the points in 11th with Paul Renisic 12th. Frank Beeler was 13th. Tim Harvey 14th. Patrick Watts 15th. And we were last in 16th place. What a disaster for us. As a result, in the Drivers' Championship, Rickard Riddell still leads it, but he's only 2 points in front of his new nearest rival, Gary Ailes, thanks to his win in race 1. His teammate, Owen McCauley, is in 3rd, Alan Menu 4th, John Cleland is in 5th, David Leslie 6th, Will Hoy 7th, John Bincliffe moves up to 8th thanks to his impressive 6th place there then. And on to the next page, Calvin Burt is in 9th, James Thompson in 10th with James Kay 11th. We are 12th in front of our teammate Paul Radisich in 13th, Patrick Watts 14th, Tim Harvey 15th, and Frank Beeler still together the point scoring mark in 16th position. In the Teams Championship, Rouse Sport increased their lead at the top. They're now 40 points in front of Williams Renault with sorry, not 40 points, they're actually 30 points in front of Williams Renault. I do apologise. Volvo are in 3rd with Vauxhall 4th, Honda 5th, Audi are in 6th with Ford in 7th and Peugeot in 8th. Audi leaping in front of Ford as a result. And in the Manufacturers' Championship, Volvo have their lead cut now. They are 4 points in front of Renault. Vauxhall are 3rd with Honda 4th, Audi are up to 5th. We in Ford are down to 6th and Peugeot are last in 7th place. So that's race 1 for you in a nutshell. So let's move on then to race 2. So here we are then for race 2 qualifying, as you can see, and we're hoping to try and regain our composure after what had been a disaster in race 1. And I took the decision, obviously, that I was going to keep the setup that I had in the previous race for qualifying, but when it comes to the race, I will change it so that hopefully we can get a lot of good top-end speed when we get down to the fast bit, because I don't want to be slow down the straight, because this Ford is not really the best down the straight, especially with its V6 engine. I didn't know if it had that in real life in 1996, but because it's a 1998 game, it's got the sound of the V6 Ford. So, yeah, that's that really, as we go flat out through the right-hander now then. The reason why I keep in the original setup in qualifying is because I felt that I could have had a decent qualifying position in race 1 had it not been for the spin at the last chicane. So, obviously I'm thinking quite tactically going into race 2, because unlike in Formula 1, I can actually change the setup between qualifying and the race. So that's the nature of touring cars for you, and of course the 90s as well. But now then, as we go up towards the last chicane now then, we're going to be very careful this time not to spin off like we did in race 1 qualifying. Through the right, then the left, a little clip of the curve, but no mistake whatsoever, taking a lot of curve through that last corner, and we cross the line then to do a 1 minute 13. So let's have a look at the grid for race 2 here at Thruxton. So let's have a look at the grid then for race 2 here at Thruxton, the fastest track in the UK. And as you can see on the front row of the grid, it's John Cleland who's surprisingly on pole position, with Gary Ailes, the man who won in race 1, in 2nd place. On row 2, it's Alain Menu in the Renault, with Owen Macaulay in 4th position. New championship leader Ricardo Ridelli is in 5th, with Will Hoy in 6th position. It is the Peugeot, surprisingly, of Patrick Watts in 7th, with myself in 8th. We qualify a very impressive 8th place. I thought I had some pace in the car. David Leslie 9th, with John Bincliffe in 10th position, unable to get back his pace that he had in race 1 qualifying. Kelvin Burt 11th, with Frank Beeler 12th. Paul Radicic, my teammate, is in 13th, with Tim Harvey 14th. And on the back row of the grid, it's the two Jameses, with James Kay 15th and James Thompson in 16th position. So that is the grid for race 2 here at Thruxton. So let's get to the 15 lap race. So here we are then, here for the 15 lap race 2 here at Thruxton, the last race of the day, as we wait for the red lights to go on and they turn green, and we're underway for race 2 here at Thruxton. We get quite a good start as well. We've already got the race set up on as well to ensure we get some good speed down the back, the fast bit, but it looks like David Leslie's got a better one, as has John Bincliffe. Both of them get by me and we drop down to 10th place as we head down towards turn 2, the first braking point of the track now then. In towards turn 2 we go, and already also on the inside is Kelvin Burt in the Volvo. We try and slip down the inside, we have a little bit of contact, we back out of it, we don't want to spin him off like we did with the 3 others last weekend at Brands Hatch, so we drop down to 11th. Looks like Paul Radicic is having some contact with us on the left hand side, our teammate, as we go through the left-hander now, then trying to keep up with everybody. But as you can see, there is a big difference in the speed with the setup, because look at it, we were only doing about 138 down this fast bit, but as you can see, we're doing about 147 now at this point now. As we go down the straight, heading towards the last 4 corners on the track now. Then as you can see, for some odd reason, Kelvin Burt breaks towards that corner as we go down the straight, heading towards the final 3 guys. Look at how much speed we got now, then we're able to keep up with these guys. Through we go on Kelvin Burt, now finding a way past John Bincliffe as well, down towards that corner. Could we get these two in front of us, Patrick Watts and David Leslie? No, not quite. We're going to stay behind them through into this last chicane now then. So we're up into 9th place, getting 2 places down that straight. And now we start lap 2 of the race now, then trying to close up onto Patrick Watts, who looks like he's getting held up a little bit by David Leslie's Honda Accord. As now up towards turn number 2 we go, the next braking point on the track now then. Through the right hander we go now then, trying to ensure that the car doesn't loosen out. That's why we had a little bit of a twitch in terms of the steering there. Through turn 3, now through turn 4, and we're now onto the fast bit of the course now then. Look at how much we're closing up on Patrick Watts now. We're getting close to him, especially down through this left hander. We could even get him before we can even get onto that back straight now then. Up towards the right hander we go, flat out as you dare. Through the right hander, through the bit where Nicholas Hamilton back in 2011 in the Renault Clears lost the control of the car and rolled it, and now we go down the inside of Patrick Watts and we're up into P8 in the Ford Mondeo. Brilliant stuff from us. Up into 8th place we go. Now can we try and chase down David Leslie for P7 in the Honda Accord, as we now skip to the end of lap 3. We're right onto the back now of David Leslie's Honda Accord, and we're into the slipstream of him already now then. Back behind the MSD Honda, we go down the inside of Leslie, in towards the last chicane we go, and we're up into P7. This is an absolute brilliant drive from us, losing the back end a little bit, but able to keep hold of it, and we're up into P7. Next target for us is Will Hoy in the Renault. Surprisingly, we're catching up to a Renault, hopefully, of Will Hoy for what will be 6th place. In fact, the group in front of me are actually fighting for the lead, so maybe we have a car that's capable of even winning this race. You don't know, of course. Now up towards turn 2 we go now then on lap 4:15. Down through turn 2 we go in, and we've been clipped by David Leslie. Leslie has spun us around. Oh no, David, what have you done? You've spun us around. And well, I'll be interested to see what that looks like in the replay, but we're down to last place. Luckily, we don't have the setup that we had in race 1, which meant we we're unable to catch these guys, but still, what a disaster. It looks like maybe even a victory has been thrown down the toilet as a result of that spin. Here's a replay then. So we're just coming out of turn 1, minding our own business, trying to catch up to Will Hoy's Renault as we go up towards turn 2 now then. And as you can see, Leslie just dives it down the inside and just spins us around. What was he expecting there? I have to turn into the corner, and well, only person you can really blame for that really is David Leslie. He caused that, and well, I'm just fuming with the Scotsman there as a result. But now we skip to the end of lap 14 as we're catching up back to the pack again. And the first man being Tim Harvey, but we've gone for a little spin. Well, half a spin, in fact, we're able to catch it this time, but that's more time we've lost by trying to catch up to the two Peugeots of Tim Harvey and Patrick Watts. So a little error there, but we've just got to stop making these errors. We're being a little bit overconfident at the moment with this car, trying to push a little too hard to catch back up to the rest of the pack. We need to be a little bit patient. But anyway, we'll skip to the end of lap 9 then, and we're right onto the back of the pack. It took us 4 laps to catch these guys back up. As we go down the back straight now, then we're in the slipstream of the first Peugeot. I believe that's still Tim Harvey on the right. It is. We go around the outside of the Peugeot. I'm up into 15th. Can we try and get the Audi and Frank Bieler as well? We do. Up into 14th place we go now then. Next target for us is James Kay in the Honda Accord. As now going down the pitch straight we go up towards turn 1 on the track, and we've got 1.48 to catch up onto James Kay's Honda Accord. As now out of turn 1 we go now then, heading towards turn 2 as now we're on to the end of lap 10 now then. As you can see, I think that's still James Kay in front in the Honda Accord. Let's just double check as we reach the end of sector 2, and it is. Are we able to try and get him into the last chicane? He also looks like he's challenging our teammate Paul Radicic as well. Down the inside we go, we lock the back end a little bit. There's contact with Paul Radicic, and we spun him around. The back brake brakes I should say. We've had some rear locking, and it's punted Paul Radicic off. I do apologise to our teammate. I hope there's not going to be tension between myself and Paul Radicic, but well, I pretty much had no control on that. The car just wanted to just go straight on, and well, pretty much Paul Radicic was there as a bit of a block really to ensure I didn't go straight on. So I do apologise to my teammate, but now we skip to the end of lap 11. We're right onto the backside of James Thompson's Vauxhall Vectra. We're on a roll at the moment. We get up into a P11, and now we're onto the backside of John Bincliffe and Patrick Watts' Peugeot. These two are for points, of course, so we're looking at 2 championship points right in front of us. We're in the slipstream of Bincliffe. We're going to go to the outside of the Audi driver now, and then round turn 1 we go flat out as we go. Have we got the place off him now then? As we go through the left-hander, I think we're up at the 10th place. We have done, but I'm going to leave the inside open, and I wish I didn't do that because we've lost the car again. We've caught onto the marbles, and well, we're down to 13th place, 14th I should say, because through goes Tim Harvey there in the Peugeot. Looks like he's gained 2 places there from Frank Bieler and I would want to say James Kay perhaps. So he's gained 2 places there as a result as we go around the left-hander now then, and now up towards the right-hander now then, and as you can see 14th at the moment, and but we're still aiming for those points. We're not too far behind everybody. Remember, we've got that different setup on as well as we go up towards the final few corners then on the track. Currently trying to chase down 13th place at this stage now then, and are we going to get Tim Harvey for the 13th place now? Then he's for some reason braking quite at the middle of the straight now, then down the back straight, but we get up into 13th. We passed Tim Harvey's Peugeot, and well, it's 13th place for us now. That if we just go through the last chicane there, trying to skip over the curbs as much as possible. I think that's kind of the trick you have to do around here at Thruxton as we now try and chase down James Kay's Honda Accord, which is just there. If you can just see in the distance there, you probably need to squint a little bit, but we've got 3 laps to catch these guys up, and we skip towards the end of lap 14, and look at this pack of cars that's in front of us now then. All of them are fighting it out for 9th place. James Kay, James Thompson, I believe, Patrick Watts, and I believe John Bincliffe as well. Don't know if there's another car involved in that, but that's that really. As we go through the chicane now, then there's enough of a gap down the inside. Kay very slow out of the chicane there, and we get up into 12th place as we now chase down James Thompson, who's too busy trying to find a way past John Bincliffe in the Audi. Bincliffe meantime busy trying to find a way by Patrick Watts' Peugeot, as Thompson doing some blocking on us there as we go through in towards the chicane. We don't risk dive bombing it there. We're going to try and keep it single file. It is the last lap of the race, but we've got plenty of time. We've still got about 3/4 of the track to go, and we've got enough speed, so let's try and get them. We're on the back now of James Thompson, trying to look to the inside. Is he going to leave a gap? Yes, he is. Down the inside we go. We've got enough momentum to go around. We're going to keep on going side by side with him through the right-hander, around the outside of the corner. Have we got 11th from the young James Thompson? He's still with us there, but we get up into 11th place, and now we're in the selection of both Bincliffe and Harvey. We get by Bincliffe. Can we get by on Patrick Watts? And we do so indeed. Unbelievable stuff. We're up into P9, and that is 2 championship points. As a result, we've gained all of them in the space of just about under a lap, and we're up into 9th place. Our next target is Calvin Burt, but we're not going to get him. He's too far in front as we reach the final few corners, and we're going to cross the line in 9th place for 2 championship points. That's definitely the redemption I wanted after what had been a disastrous weekend at Brands Hatch. It's P9 for us. I'll take that. Fantastic after what happened to us in that race. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the results of race 2 here at Thruxton. John Cleland won the race in the Vauxhall game. Vauxhall's first win of the season, with Gary Ailes in 2nd, Alan Menu 3rd, Rickard Rydell 4th, Will Hoy 5th, Owen Macaulay 6th, David Leslie 7th, with Kelvin Burt in 8th position in the Volvo. And on to the next page, we finished in 9th, brilliant result for us, with John Bincliffe rounding out the points in 10th. He managed to find a way by Patrick Watts on the last lap as well. Patrick Watts just outside the points in 11th, James Thompson 12th, James Kay 13th, Tim Harvey 14th, our teammate in 15th, and Frank Beeler in 16th position. As we go on to the next page, Gary Ailes now leads the Drivers' Championship. He leads it by 2 points out of Rickard Rydell. John Cullen moves up to 3rd thanks to his victory. Alan Menu 4th, Owen Macaulay 5th, David Leslie 6th, Will Hoy 7th, and John Bincliffe in 8th position. On to the next page, it's Kelvin Burt 9th. We've moved up into 10th position, so we're back into the top 10. James Thompson 11th, James Kay 12th. Our teammate is 13th, Paul Radicic, that being Patrick Watts in 14th, Tim Harvey 15th, and Frank Beeler still yet to get off the point scoring mark in 16th position. Moving on to the Teams Championship, and it's Rouse Sports still leading the way. They are now, if I'm correct, that looks to be 31 points out of Williams Renault, with Volvo in 3rd, Vauxhall 4, Honda in 5th, Audi Sport UK 6th. The team that we're in, Valvoline Team Mondeo, still in 7th, with Total Team Peugeot in 8th position. And finally, on to the Manufacturers' Championship. Renault have cut the gap to Volvo. They're now only 2 points behind them. Vauxhall looking strong in 3rd, Honda are 4th, Audi 5th. Ford are in 6th, with Peugeot in 7th and last. But guys, that has been it for this episode here at Thruxton. It's been a fantastic day out, and well, we finally get our championship back on track as a result. But until then, guys, that has been it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys for the next episode at the International Circuit of Silverstone, the famous Silverstone circuit. Hopefully we can do well around there for the 4th weekend of the championship, round 7 and 8 to be precise. But until then, I've been JWF1, and I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, take care.